Hello, welcome to the Trews. Did you watch that weird TV programme last night where people talked about politics behind podiums and tried to act like they was normal people? Does it mean anything? Does it affect us politically? And why do people hold their hand like that, like, I've got your nose, I've got your nose? Why do people keep doing that?
Look, we've got very different views. I mean, I respect your views that you want to break up the country, but that's not my view.
I like Ed Miliband, but I feel like he's been so bullied into, like, Ed, you don't come across as normal. You know they use that word wonk to describe people that use political language. He's sort of wonky, but he's wonky in loads of ways. It's like he embodies wonkiness. There's a sort of a wonkiness to him. And when he's trying to act all louche, leaning at the podium, overusing people's names.
David? Nicola? Nigel? Oh no, Nicola, Nigel.
Like he's overusing names to a ridiculous degree.
I think that'll be a disaster for the working people of Britain. So it's a no, I'm afraid.
I don't know what Ed Miliband is talking about.
Politics and that.
The question of independence was for the referendum last year. This election is about getting rid of the Tories.
I like Nicola Sturgeon, but don't she always seem a bit like she's on the verge of nutting you on the bridge of the bloody nose? I've had enough of this. She's like a Braveheart Jimmy Cranky. What's that? You won't do a coalition to match the Tories, right? I fucking nut you in your face, you bastard!
What I'm saying is I can help Labour be bolder to deliver the change that to deliver the change that we really need.
David, you could have let her talk to me like that. She tried to headbutt me earlier.
There just seems to be a total lack of comprehension on this panel, and indeed amongst this audience.
Nigel Farage is starting to seem really nuts, isn't it?
Which is a remarkable audience, even by the left-wing standards of the BBC. I mean, this lot's pretty left-wing.
He just seems increasingly angry over there. Oh, this audience is rubbish. What are you, gays?
No, the real audience are sitting at home, actually. You cannot discuss...
No.
Some of you are probably blacks.
Yeah. This is an audience that has been carefully chosen, not by the BBC, but by an independent polling organisation to represent the balance between all parties.
It's never a great time.
Very good.
Very good.
Rapturous round of applause for the selection process there. That's how disillusioned we are. I mean, like, so in a way, we're playing their silly little games now by analysing this. As you know, my view is that the whole thing is a spectacle and real power takes place behind it. What we care about on the Trews is what is actually going to make a difference. Even something that superficially seems like a big deal, like shall we cancel Trident and spend that money on nurses? The obvious answer would seem to be, why, yes, of course, why wouldn't you do that? It doesn't address broader problems like redistribution of land. That's when it gets heavy, when you go, we're going to go up to the Duke of Westminster and the Queen of England and Cadogan Estates and say, we're reclaiming this land, we're repurposing it for people. We're going to take the 1.5 million empty buildings across the UK and repurpose them. Like, you know I don't agree with kind of centralised power, but I do agree with imposing a coordinated system of national fairness, of saying, look, where there's empty houses and there's homelessness, let's deal with it. When there's an excess of land controlled by the aristocracy, let's take it. When there's media barons that have excessive control and influence, we're going to break down their monopolies. Like, no political party can do that because of the relationship between Westminster and the corporate world. This is not condemnation of any of the people on that panel, not even Nigel Farage. No one can do that in the political strata. Only we can do that. The only people that can oppose corporate power are us. They're lying on a very fundamental level. They don't have the ability to do it, regardless of intention. We do, though.
You abuse immigrants and those with HIV and then complain that UKIP is being abused.
I'm afraid you said abused there, so you do lose points.
Would you sign us up to a European army? Because that is where...
No. David?
EU defence is going, and I think it's important.
No.
I think it was you that privatised a large chunk of the health service, and you're lying.
You're lying! The best bits for television is when they lose it.
And you're lying.
Ed,
like, imagine if you just walked into a room and saw that happening.
Come in now!
It's also mad that Natalie Bennett's from Australia or New Zealand or whatever.
You're comfortable with a 5% private profit for private companies operating in the NHS.
Nigel Farage must be aching to go, right, you love, you should have a beer, come out! wrestle her off that. Get your hands off of me, Ed, other ones.
I've fought Tories all my life. Unlike the SNP, which presaged a Tory government in 1979. You fought Labour all your life, Nicola.
We have a chance to...
Ed Miliband's been told to smile, hasn't he? And you keep seeing he smiles at inappropriate moments. Like there's a bit where she's offering him that deal that in political terms is probably really kind of crucial. And Ed Miliband, he searches his mind for a response, and what comes to the surface is, someone told me to smile.
Kick David Cameron out of Downing Street.
They're all trying. They have to seem like the opposite of people's negative anxieties about them. So they can't be normal. They can't be natural. The problem is that politics has become a spectacle, that this has become a television programme. So we're not judging it on, right, what politically is going to happen here? Who represents me? Whose vision of Britain is closest to my vision of Britain? It's hard to judge that because it's difficult not to be affected by someone mispronouncing a word, someone making too much effort to do eye contact with the camera. There's a few times where Natalie Bennett sort of like stared down the camera. Ed Miliband goes nuts when he issues his sort of like pugilist offering out of David Cameron.
Debate me one-on-one.
So you can't help but judge them on entertainment values. And from an entertainment perspective, I know what it's like sort of when you're on camera and you're not doing anything. Like when I'm on a talk show and they're not talking to me anymore, I sort of think, oh God, what am I going to do with my face? Oh no, they're talking to Paloma's face for ages. So should politics be entertainment? No, obviously it shouldn't. What you really want is, look, forget all this faff and us stood behind these podiums and the perfectly selected audience and Dimblebee's Dumbledore, Harry Potter authority. What we should have is kind of, look, who's going to do stuff to represent people over powerful corporations? Who's going to get the bureaucratic ephemera out of the way so people's will can be enacted, even on a local level, when you're sort of trying to go, look, we want to do this for the people. There's so much political sort of architecture in the way that has to, be swept aside. That's why I believe in radical change, true change, revolutionary change.
Immigrants from the European Union into this country make a net contribution to our country. So if we can maybe just put the bogeyman to one side, we can actually debate these issues for real and in substance.
If the question was, who would you prefer to run the country, any one of these people or David Cameron, I'd go, yeah, more or less any one of them, except for the crazy one over there. But that isn't the question. They don't set the question. We set the question. I disagree with the fundamental discourse of like, right, now obviously we're going to be punching you in the face. Left eye or right eye? Don't punch me in the face.
I believe it's time to put working families first again in our country.
This bit's amazing. I almost heard music under this when I started looking at the camera.
Putting your living standards first.
Do you know what it's like? It's like the break in a Barry White song when Barry White goes,
I've heard people say that...
I'm talking to all you Labour voters out there.
I believe it's time to put working families first again in our country.
Yeah, it's time to get real sexy. Slow things down a little bit. Now, I know you don't look at me as a leader, but I'm here to tell you, I can lead your country, baby. I can lead you from down the street, yeah. I can run your body, baby, from your head down to your feet, yeah. You can trust me, trust inside me. Let me reach and hug you tight. We will still have tried, baby, and austerity will be alright, yeah. David Cameron, I'm telling you, yeah, I will fight you really hard, yeah. Come and debate me live, yeah, baby. I'll debate you in your backyard, yeah. I'll debate you in the nude, yeah. I'll debate you in the bath. I'll debate you seriously. I'll debate you for a laugh. You want someone in Parliament who can improvise a Barry White song. That's what you want. Subscribe here.
Is a tool that is abused to fool you and to leave you scared and confused. Trews is like the news. If the news was true, I want some Trews. Let's have some Trews.